I'm your host, Malcolm Nance. And along with us today, we are missing Jacob Carsbo, Danish intelligence officer extraordinaire. We have Wajeeh, the gay lion, coming to us from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And in a few minutes, we will have a extra special host who will be coming on board. His name, listen to me, blah, blah, blah. His name is Dexter Ingram, former chief coordinator for the global counterterrorism world and a spy paraphernalia memorabilia collector extraordinaire. But things are very, very, very weird today. And some of you may have noticed in the previous one, I had changed the title of that to be a special 2 hour program. We're going to go about an hour, hour and a half. But there are things happening now in the last 24 hours that are very, very hard to explain. And yeah, we had the usual war and all the rest of that stuff. But we're going to be doing a lot more geopolitical talk today because how can I describe it? And that's why I had changed the title of the WARCAST to a special edition WARCAST, because we're going to go over the basic things. But to be honest, the world is starting to act like it's a Tom Clancy novel. And there are behaviors and operations and activities that I'm seeing that from an intelligence community perspective can only be described as being operations, things that people are carrying out in order to affect change that they would not have normally done. How can I put it? This war is changing the entire dynamic, not just of the Middle East, but now it's impacting North Africa and Europe. And before we get into that, let's just say hi to Wajeeh. Good morning, Wajeeh. While you're doing that, I
Good
will have
morning.
my fifth double espresso in the morning. Good morning. How are you?
Mashallah. I'm all right.
Mashallah.
The last 2 minutes, I actually had to run and do my coffee because I was looking around. I was like, oh, I don't have my coffee for this morning, and I need coffee for this morning in particular.
Mhm.
There's a lot going
All right.
on,
There
and
is
uh,
a lot of
uh,
going on.
and I don't know what to make of what's happening in Spain.
Well, let's hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's a
Okay, okay.
lot of shit happening right now. And I know I can tell you as someone, I lived in Spain, I've lived in all the countries where activities are going on this morning. And having been involved in a lot of operations, the only thing I can say is that there are events occurring right now that can only come of one of two places. One is somebody thinks the world is a game of Risk and they're rolling dice and are trying to make massive changes. Or two, they think the United States and the world and the US military and the intelligence community are a entities in a Tom Clancy novel and that they are executing a Tom Clancy-like strategy against America's opponents. And it's weird. So before we go any further, I'm going to invite Dexter Ingram up, and see if he comes up. He'll fill in for Jacob Carsbo here today. And he has a lot I mean, he worked at the Department of Defense, Department of State, and he understands the geopolitical aspects of trying to build these coalitions and get countries to do things that they may not want to do, or you may have to coerce them into doing, particularly when it comes to, violent extremism and all that stuff. So he's been invited. We will see how he goes. Let me grab my coffee. You might notice that I have a different camera perspective today because it is very important. I'm on the phone, but I've got it connected to high-speed broadband. It's very important that you see maps today. I'm going to educate the hell out of you today. There's Dexter. Dexter, welcome to Black Man Spy's morning warcast, bro. How you
Good
doing?
morning. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, you're just a you're just a simple substitute. No, not really. No, you actually have your background which is part of the global combating terrorism campaign. You were the executive, were you like the assistant executive director or the executive director of the
I
global
was the
campaign?
director. Yeah, I
Wow.
was yeah, so 89 partners around the world, one common
Wow.
cause, defeating ISIS, and it was partners like Morocco and Italy, UK, as well as Interpol, the EU, and NATO. So pretty big coalition.
Yeah, great.
Nice.
Well, I'm glad to have you. And, former, fellow former board member of the Spy Museum, and also huge collector of spy paraphernalia, memorabilia, and stuff like that, much of which I am very, very, very deathly jealous. So he and I are like on tit for tat. I bought something cool. You got something cool. So let's go ahead and start today. First, Wajeeh, can we take a look at oil? Let's see what
All
these
right.
geopolitical shifts that have been going on. Let's see how they are impacting the global energy economy. Because oil
Guys,
yesterday jumped $5 a gallon, and then it dropped a buck, and then it jumped. Just crazy shifts.
first of all, nice to meet you, Dexter. It's the first
Me
time.
too. Absolutely. I'm a big fan. I've been watching you guys for a while.
Oh,
Oh, thank
great.
you. Appreciate it. Now,
Okay.
WTI has risen to $85.
Okay.
Brent
After it dropped,
crude,
I guess.
yes, it
Brent's,
dropped yesterday $5, and it's back up $1.73.
these
Brent
shifts
crude,
are crazy. Go ahead, Brent.
Brent crude is at 90.15.
It's up a buck.
And the next important thing is a big drop in OPEC
Oh
from
God.
$100.
Oh,
They went to $97.
oh,
Morban is at 78.
crazy shifts. Okay, whatever. All we can do. I mean, before we could reliably see the escalation or deflation of prices of oil on the basis of the political or military, activities as they were occurring in the Persian Gulf and other parts. And now it's like, woohoo, I got oil. Oh, fuck it. I don't want it. A lot of these are bets that in 60 to 90 days, oil will be at $78, and they're buying, it's almost impossible to track. So, okay, let's go over that. We always start off with oil. Dexter, do you have a coffee cup? Do you have a cup of coffee with you this morning?
I don't have a cup of coffee with me.
Okay.
You called
Yeah.
me up, and I just came right and
Bro,
brought it.
it's morning briefing. It's the morning briefing. All the watch section and senior watch officers come together, and we always have a cup of coffee. How do you manage people without a cup of coffee in your hand?
Oh, I chugged one about an hour ago, but
Okay.
typically next time when we plan this, I will have my Navy mug with me. I still have my squadron mug from VQ4 from the 90s where I was flying
EQ4.
E6s. Yep.
God, that is salty ass old school stuff. All right. Yeah. So let me
Well
go
seasoned.
on to the next phase of this show because things are happening. And we're going to be going a little longer than normal. We have a whole question set up that's on Substack where people can post their questions. We are also watching the chat down below. Don't watch the chat. It's too funny. You won't be able to concentrate on the show. The other show, we were just dying. The comments that people were coming up with were just incredible, especially when we ask for alternatives to the phrase spectacular penetrations. We've got all sorts going on there. My notes today go to almost 2 pages. And this is significant because there is no active major combat going on in the last 24 hours. The United States did not strike Iran. Iran did not retaliate and strike the United States. There was no exchange of major fire other than some merchant ship activity. We'll get into that in a minute. And there was activity in other countries. But here we are again. The big news that was coming out of Washington via Axios, of course, and the New York Times is that there are two facets to this. One, the Trump administration is split down the middle as to what they should do going forward, which is bizarre when you consider that today is, by the way, I forgot to introduce the day. Today is day 19 slash 153 days since we started this war. Day 19 since started combat operations phase 2. So the big discussion that's going on is, what should Washington do to further engage Iran to bring them to the table? You have the Hegseth, Netanyahu, half and half Marco Rubio, now dead Lindsey Graham sphere, which believes that we should go to active war and just invade the country and blow up everything. And then the other side is the other half of Marco Rubio. and some advisors like Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, who were part of the Give Peace a Chance group of, I shouldn't make fun of Reverend Jesse Jackson's comment about giving peace a chance, because I actually did a radio show where he interviewed me and I could barely answer questions because it's like, imagine a history book talking to you and asking you questions about history. That was Jesse Jackson. I was stunned into silence. 99% of my thoughts while I was looking at him was, this man stood 1 foot from Martin Luther King when he got his shot in the head. I had a million questions to ask him. So I will give peace a chance, which was his favorite quote, right? Give peace a chance. The problem is the New York Times is reporting that Trump was so furious last week that the promises of Pete Hegseth and Netanyahu that bombing Iran again would collapse them. They were just 20% finished. And why he was screaming obscenity-laced angry. Malcolm silent. That's too funny. Yes, I was silent. Stop reading the comments. So this angry obscenity-laced rant where he said, how come this isn't working? Well, it's because no one said, get me Ingram and Nance on the phone, stat. We would have told them, this requires a strategy. And you ain't got one. Your strategy is, yeehaw, fuck the law. Let's just go have fun. Right? Bombs and dudes with planes. So, what you say, Dex?
Dudes with planes and bombs.
Dudes with planes and guns. Like, follow, subscribe. I always say that. I always say that South Park version of Pete Hegseth is so accurate. We could do it, but I'm gonna need more dudes.
With him and Kristi Noem, that is the we need them to run our social media because that's what they're good at. They're good at doing their jobs.
Let me tell you, no one's as good at social media as the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps' Lego videos. I mean, these guys got it down. But put this aside for a minute, all humor aside. What we really need to talk about here is we have an administration that is completely adrift. They don't know where they're going. They don't know how they got here. They can't seem to see any fault in what's going on in any of the behaviors. And that's concerning. But on the other hand, they are killing our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and civilians in Iran and other countries, Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia. Other countries are now, the entire fabric of the geopolitical world is being ripped apart. And the reason I'm giving this big wind up is because today we're going to talk about this. What I'm starting to see is either a game of Risk is being played in the White House, and they're literally like, roll the dice again. Let's see what happens. See if you can take Mesopotamia. Or they are going back and reading through Tom Clancy novels to get some hint as to what they should do next. And I've actually brought that phrase up when I was on MSNBC, called, we used to make this joke because that things were happening in a TCCC manner, which stood for Tom Clancy Combat Concepts. And it's like, it means apparently he's been reading a new, Sum of All Fears again. And it's absolutely mind-boggling. But with that, since there is no active major combat going on between the United States and Iran, let's take a look at where there was combat yesterday. Iraq, the IRGC fired a number of Shahed drones from Iran into Erbil. The CRAM was going off extra special spicy last night. That is the counter rocket and mortar Gatling gun. It's the Navy's close-in weapon system that shoots down missiles on a truck. And they put this, you might recall, the one in Baghdad at the American Embassy was hit. Or is that Camp Victory? Camp Victory's was hit. The one in Erbil was going off last night left and right, but apparently the Iranians got some hits in on the Iranian-backed or the anti-Iranian government Kurdish militias who were meeting and had an ammo dump in Erbil. It's possible, considering this supposed ammo dump was near Ain Kawa. You've been to Ain Kawa, right? Up in Erbil, which is the airport. Christian neighborhood surrounds it there. I remember when there was nothing at that airstrip except a flat 1,500-foot runway, a wood board with a rickety wood board that said toilets. And you would stand behind it and pee in the grass. And then you could see the village of Ain Kawa off to the east, which is the Christian enclave that now has become Erbil International Airport with a Rotana hotel. So that place is pretty big now, but apparently the Iranians struck the Kurdish ammunition dumps up there in what is clearly a tit for tat for the United States and Saudi Arabia bombing Peshid Shabi Popular Mobilization Front ammunition dumps down in Basra, as well as striking IRGC and Peshid Shabi headquarters around Iraq. That is the only major combat that occurred last night where proxies were bombing, nations were bombing proxies. Anybody got anything to say about that? Hey, Gulf State desk, you awake?
I am right here.
All right.
I was pulling out that bid for everyone while
Okay.
they're.
Oh, believe me, I'm going to show y'all some maps. Oh, if you got a map, that would be fine. I'm going to bring it up on Google Earth. Now I have since I'm on the phone, I can orient it to the big screen here. Global extremism desk. What do you say?
I mean, for me, it's kind of this bizarro world because it's like a gambler. You're losing your money. You're losing your money. Now you're at the point where it really, really hurts. And do you go home or do you try to win all of it back? Well, you're not going to win all of it back. And what we're seeing is doubling down. What we're seeing is people dying. This is what happens when you go into a situation and you really don't look at all the resources that you have that can inform where you're going to go and what the possibilities are. Right. We should always try to learn from the past. I mean, remember when we went into Iraq? We disbanded the Ba'ath Party. That became ISIS. That long-term vision is important. And you have a whole U.S. government, intel agencies, Defense Department, State Department, all aspects of development that can kind of feed into this and come up with a comprehensive plan. But when you listen to 5 people and you do things in the shadows and you don't have a real understanding of what the consequences are, killing is not the same when it comes to winning. There are people and countries and organizations out there that death is just part of the process. And when we sit there and say, you killed 20 of ours, we're going to kill 50 of yours, they'll take it every day because they understand that they have a different longer term mentality and psyche. And so as we sit there and try to just kind of just bomb and shoot our way out of things, not really listening to partners, not talking to partners beforehand, this is what comes out of it. And it's a no-win game. All Iran has to do is survive, right?
We discuss this every day. All right. You hear Trump go, we're going to bomb them real hard. And this is literally their response. They pick up Well, they wouldn't pick up this cup. Oh, I'm sorry. They would pick up this
A
cup,
teacup or
this
coffee
cup,
cup.
and they go, so? You go, okay, you going to bomb? Halas.
There it
Anybody
is.
got kebabs for lunch? I mean,
Let me
what do they care? They've
let me
lasted
help you out real quick.
they've
I'm gonna pick
survived
up my
millennia.
picnic.
Shoo, 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 son.
I said I'll help. Like the Iranians are like, oh, you're heading us? Okay, 1 second. Let me pick up my picnic so I could go in the mountain real quick.
Yeah,
Okay, you can go.
yeah,
Yes.
halas. We can watch from here. So we talk about this all the time, that their strategy, there is strategic patience. That's their strategy. You're
I
going
mean,
to tire of this. You're going to run out of money from this. You're going to run out of weapon systems. Your wife and kids hate you already. So, all they have to do is maintain their national resolve. And this fantasy, and I call this, I had this discussion on Mario Nawafal's podcast the other day where I introduced the phrase PFM, their magical thinking. And they were like, well, what did they think was going to happen? Why did they think that Iran was going to collapse after a couple of weeks of bombing? Pure fucking magic, right? It's going to happen. It's like, okay, do you have anything empirical you would like to share with us? No,
Thank
I
you.
just have, it's not even trust me, bro. Okay, because trust me, bro, means that you have some measure of expertise. This is pure fucking magic, right? It's just going to happen. It's almost Yogi Bear-like in its belief that the picnic basket is going to become their picnic basket, and all they need to do is get past the ranger. So it's just absolutely mind-boggling. I just want to show
This is
everybody a
this
map.
is
Go
the perfect
ahead.
example when this is the perfect example when a strong man makes a wrong decision. Like any strong man. Like
Right.
if Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman did this in Yemen, he got his ass handed to him. When the Emiratis got involved in Sudan, they got their ass handed to them.
Yeah.
This is the exact mindset that I have enough money, I have enough resources. I'm gonna be able to buy my way through this, and I'm gonna be able to bomb my way through this as well. And reality check is a lot of people are way more loyal to their home country, and when you're especially playing in their home turf, it becomes Vietnam, baby. It's not becoming another Venezuela. This is not
Right.
Venezuela.
I actually spent, gosh, 8 months, I guess, as part of the current administration before I left the State Department in September. And I would sit in these meetings and discussions. And when you're a real professional, right, when you do this stuff for a living, you understand what's important, what's not important. And the fascination with just blowing things and people up is
Yeah.
something I had never seen before. Snuff film after snuff film that
Yeah.
shows us attacking. When I was in Africa 3 years ago, working, with the Africa Focus Group, and the Kenyans came to me and they said, Dexter, we learned a decade ago we can't shoot our way out of this problem.
Right.
We created their own national counterterrorism center. Our partners know this around the world, and we are the ones going back in time, just thinking we can shoot and bomb our way out of this.
Mhm.
It doesn't work that way, especially when you look at and come at it from an angle other than kind of a Western mentality. Not
Right.
everybody thinks like us. Most people don't.
Well, I'd just like to call everybody's attention to the big board in the watch center. This war, this activity, this campaign started with the map that looked like this, right? Target Iran. This is what the United States, this was the field of view of what we were going to do. Then, of course, your enemy always has a vote in what's going to happen. And by Iran counterattacking, they raised the field of view to this, right? We're up here bombing the hell out of them. They brought the war all the way out into this circle, including striking by the way, the TR1 site out at Akrotiri, RAF Akrotiri, when they hit the U-2 aircraft hangar with a drone and then fired ballistic missiles at Cyprus to put Akrotiri out of business over Turkey. So that's where the 40-day war was being fought. And now this scope on Iran's terms. And I said this yesterday. I was talking to Mario Nualfal, who was using a term Professor Robert Pape used, who maintains escalation dominance in this war. And he was like, well,
Yeah.
Trump has it. I go, no, Iran has it. Iran can lessen this balloon or raise this balloon at its will. We are technically responding. Yes, we took the first shot, but after the first couple of weeks, when they started lobbing ballistic missiles that everyone was told they didn't have, the initiative was on the enemy's side, was on our opponent's side. I don't say the enemy because I'm not engaged in this war. Our opponent's side. That being said, Iran managed to bring the scope of this war this far. Then, when the peace era broke out, peace, love, and happiness, when they decided to let peace have a chance, the scope of operations only went this far. The United States was only bombing and attacking within this range. Then, of course, Iran, on a day-to-day basis, would bring it out to about that, striking within this arc. And then the United States would go back and start doing this. And Iran would strike at this range, right? Tit for tat. And then the United States decided to come back and start attacking from as far as Charbahar all the way up here to Ahvaz. And Iran decided, again, to bring it out even further. Now, Iran has brought it out to a theater-level game, to where not only is the Strait of Hormuz a choke point, the Bab el-Mandab and the Houthis have been brought in, are a choke point. And I don't know if you've watched the shows over the last couple of days, Dexter, but we talked about there is clearly fuckery afoot. That is a technical intelligence term. There are activities occurring which tell me that someone in the National Security Council and the Department of Defense was tasked out to get people's asses moving. One of the things was State Department was trying to bring Lebanon in to segregate not just Israel from the northern zone or the southern zone, but to bring the Lebanese army into the fight against Hezbollah with these new supposed occupation areas that the Lebanese army is now going to occupy near Nabatea. But a lot of people missed it. If you didn't watch this show, U.S. forces are supposed to join them in Lebanon. The tactical assistance brigades or whatever it's supposed to be, right? The assistance brigades. But that U.S. Army troops will be co-located with Lebanese army soldiers between Hezbollah and the Israelis. Does this sound familiar? It reminds me of when I was, 19 years old in Beirut in 1983. Well, that's just one area. Then out of nowhere pops up this political group that was in Syria that started in 2021 called the Syrian Peace Party. And it's peace like Donald Trump's Board of Peace, right? They, 2 months ago, started advocating that Syria should invade Lebanon through the Bekaa Valley and put a wedge on Hezbollah from the east. And I was like, well, that's a fast way to get Hezbollah to take over all of Syria again, right? I mean, Hezbollah, don't engage these guys in a ground fight. They will beat you. Okay, you can bomb all day. Maybe the Israelis can hold the line. But now you're talking about their game.
$1 billion annual budget.
Right. And then, out of nowhere, Trump calls Jelani to the White House, and Jelani's like, no, we're not going to, it verified what we had said, that Trump had asked the Syrians to intervene against Hezbollah from going from east to west. The same thing that this alleged Syrian peace party, which is run by a liberal woman, actually, I think it's called the Liberal Party, Syrian Liberal Peace Party or something like that. And now everybody wants to jump in both feet against Hezbollah. Look, I know the Lebanese army. You probably have seen the Lebanese army. I was in Beirut in 1983. The Lebanese army has not improved materially since 1983, except they got a couple of Bradleys now that they're going to be able to give to Hezbollah when they lose their next battle. But now I've got the White House Defense Department touching all these bases, with what could only be described as American proxies to help Israel and Lebanon. Step back from that. We go to Yemen. A week ago, after the Saudis bombed Sana'a airport, we get reports that the Yemenese Arab Republic Army, the Transitional National Council of Yemen, carries out a ground offensive along the coast out of nowhere. And then the next day, F-5 fucking freedom fighters are doing airstrikes against Marib, and Jawf province in Yemen. I didn't even know they were flying anymore. Okay? Saudis must have given them some material assistance. But this stuff cropping up out of nowhere is not a coincidence. And what's Nance's law? Coincidence takes a lot of planning. Then, a day later, a offensive from the east moves into the mountains in Yemen. And then the day after that, the Yemeni government announces that everyone's salary, which is $27 a month, is being raised with immediate payout to $266 a month. A literal windfall of $1 billion that, I don't know, dropped off a truck from Riyadh the night before? I don't know.
Are you talking about the Yemeni government backed by the Saudi government?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, the Transitional National Council.
If they're living in Saudi Arabia, they probably have received paychecks before, but if they're living in Yemen, they have not received their paychecks in 4 years.
Those donkeys are coming, and they got money in the donkey bags. So it just takes a little while to get down to the battlefront.
You know who else is making money? I mean, if you look on X right now, you'll see the Houthis are actively selling arms on X. X is making money, and these are verified accounts.
Houthis?
Known as the Houthis, right?
Hey, tell them motherfuckers I need an AK-74 when I get there.
Houthis are selling arms on X.
No, they got their khanjars out too.
Exactly.
Oh, Dex, you got to grab your khanjars. We have a whole segment of this show.
You know what? Let me get it. Hold on.
Everyone has to contribute to this segment of the show. Okay? Because
Mashallah, that's a Moroccan khanjar.
This is a Moroccan.
Look at that. When we talk about Houthis, everyone, ya Allah, khanjar, everybody dance. Right? So, cultural reference everybody should make note of, because there's not a man or boy in Yemen that does not have one of these.
Yes.
On his person at all times. It is a cultural touchstone. With me, yeah, I had one, and a rifle, and frags. So it's a salty place. So my point is, we get these proxies in the Lebanese army with that peace deal pops up out of nowhere. All this talk of getting the Syrians to invade Lebanon and attack Hezbollah out of nowhere. Suddenly, the United States we know early on in the war, they were arming the Iranian Kurds, and then, the Heshid Shabi, which is 200,000 Iranian-backed militiamen with better weapon systems, almost as capable as the Iraqi army, which is 75% Shia Muslim, are now at war with Saudi Arabia and the United States, to the point where they put out Saudi Arabia's eastern pumps in the Abqaiq Yanbu pipeline, which is not good. Now, Malcolm, what are you trying to get to? I said this the other day. We have gone from a small regional skirmish war let me give you the map. A small regional war between the United States projecting power to a theater level war that brings in everybody, including now a second war in Yemen that apparently we decided we were going to have, because we didn't bomb Sana'a Airport. The Saudis did. You don't think we knew about that? And then they attack Jazan oil refinery as part of the Iranian strategy to punish anybody with oil. And as what's his name, Arachi, the foreign minister, said, the rules are very simple. If Iran cannot sell oil, no one will sell oil.
That's
so
right.
now, but American proxies here, American proxies here, American proxies here. These guys in the Gulf states are now the frontline states, which brings me to the second news bulletin of the day. You guys needed that full backstory because, yikes, it appears that there is a American-Israeli strategy that they are referring to as the Gazification of Iran. Not that they're going to blow it up. There is a move that's being reported now that the United States and Israel is proposing that all 7 countries that surround Iran cut off all trade and block, boycott, and starve Iran. Now, I have a question. Wait, let me raise my hand properly. So you guys, I have a question. Me, Malcolm? Okay.
Yes. What's your question?
Okay. Do they really think that the Pakistanis, Muslims, of which there is a sizable Shia Muslim community, particularly around Karachi? Okay, I've been to Karachi. There's a lot of Husseiniyas up there, and they get hot-headed. Does he think
That's
the
right.
the Afghans, whom we just had a war with, or the Azerbaijan maybe, Turkmenistan possibly, okay? Turkey, no way. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if Turkey sides with this, that's essentially saying that you are siding with the Kurds. And the Turks will do nothing to support any Kurd unless they can get a guarantee. The Turks hate them some Kurds. You know what? There's only one group of people that hate Kurds more than the Turks. You know who that is? The Kurds.
I was going to say, because I've been in those
Kurdish groups.
negotiations. I've sat in the room, Malcolm, where I had the Turks and the Europeans who were just going at it because we said we were leaving Syria. The Turks started bombing Syria. The crazy part about this, when I was in the Defeat ISIS coalition, I would get videos sent to me from the Kurds saying, "Hey, look, we just blew up some Turkish troops." And I was like, "Stop it.
Yeah.
Like, stop it." And then the Turks would do the same. And I was like, "Mom, Dad, stop." So in these negotiations, I was literally
Mom, Dad, stop.
yeah, fixing these situations, embracing this level of chaos.
No, I gotta tell you, it is not a mom-dad fighting situation. It's the equivalent. It's the equivalent of your 3-year-old brother poking your dad in the foot with a pencil, and your dad full punch popping him in the face. That's how the Turks treat the Kurds. Every time some stupid shit thing would pop off across the Kurdish border by the PKK or whichever group, didn't matter. It didn't matter which Kurdish group did something to the Turkish, they would fucking hit them all of them, right? And the next thing you know, M60 tanks are rolling across the border to take care of business in every sector. So, true, the only people that hate the Kurds more than the Turks are other Kurds. Yeah. They fight like civet cats, man. Fight, bag of rats. Just put them in there and beat them and throw them in the water and see them fight. That is how the Kurds go at each other. But here's the United States. Very early on in this war, we were trying to get the Iranian Kurds to be armed by the Iraqi Kurds, to the point where the Iraqi Kurds had to come up and met with Trump, or had a phone call with Trump, and came back and were like, "No, we're not going to do this." Then Trump comes out and goes, "They stole all our weapons we gave them." Okay, that proxy war is not going well. So
here's one thing you missed.
Yes. Go ahead. What's that, Wajeeh?
You were talking about choking Iran off. one of the biggest sources of income for Iran at the moment is the Caspian Sea. With what
Yeah.
are you gonna like? You even if you let's say like with you rubbed the genie bottle and you made your three wishes. You made Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Turkey shut off borders. The Caspian Sea is goddamn open.
Yeah. So, but don't worry, because the coalition is calling for these countries to stop trade. Iraq, which is 75% Shia Muslim, and everybody in Iraq, it's not even worth talking about. Turkey, which ain't going to cut off a damn thing. If the Turks have taught us anything when they did that massive shift of the Syrian diaspora to Europe, it was if there's an opportunity to make a dime here, we're going to make that dime. What? You need inflatable boats to go to Greece? We just happen to have 10 factories making inflatable boats and we'll sell them to you on commission. You know, if you need 20,000 life vests so that you and your children can maybe not drown when you come up in Mykonos, we just happen to have those for sale right at the edge of the water. Turkey has its own agenda going here, people, and it ain't NATO's. And so if you say, stop selling food, material, whatever to Iranians and cut off all trade, they're going to go, no. They may make noise like they could consider that, but they're not going to do it. Armenia, that's a possibility. The Armenians may do it. Azerbaijan, it's a possibility. They have deep ties with the Israelis. They might consider that, but nobody else is going to do it. Russia, no. Turkmenistan, they can be bribed, right? Don't they have a project? There's a Trump project in Turkmenistan.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the reason I wanted to bring this up is because now the most significant news of the day happens to deal with Yemen and proxyism. There apparently is a massive move, besides they want to Gazify Iran. There is a move which was announced today to break the Yemen deadlock. Apparently, Saudi Arabia is thinking about re-invading Yemen.
Death trap.
Roll them eyes. Roll them hard.
Yeah.
As you know, this did not work out well in 2015 to the continuing war that pretty much beat the Saudis by 2020 out of Yemen. Took thousands
With
of
flip
prisoners.
flop.
Guys with flip-flops were beating their ass, right?
Mhm.
Full-on Saudi army units were being wiped out, all their equipment stolen, M1 tanks blown up by the dozens, F-15s and Apache helicopters getting shot down by AAA from the back of a goddamn pickup truck, hillbilly land. So, Mohammed bin Salman, according to news reports, is planning a major Yemen ground force offensive from the north, which is supposed to link up with the Army of Yemen, the YAR Transitional National Council force coming from the south. And you can be damn sure that Pete Hegseth will want to get dudes with guns and trucks and get involved in that particular war on the ground.
That would
They
be a
said that
whole
their
mistake,
principal
but
objective is to take the province of El Beida, which is a province that was lost by to the Houthis by the transitional national by the Houthis in 2020, 2021. Not to be outdone, out of nowhere, the Saudis, okay, decide that they want to bring up what they're calling a maritime security coalition to break the deadlock at the Bab el-Mandab waterway and to defang the Houthi military. All of this was announced today, by the way. And they had, out of nowhere, a conference where they all had representatives of the 14 nations. Don't tell me we didn't plan this shit for a while. I mean, this is like somebody just came up with this and said, get those guys over there. Here are the 14 countries that are going to take part in this coalition to defeat the Houthi Navy war machine. Not ISIS, the defeat of the Houthi war machine. Those countries are catch me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they can even get out of their own operations area. Bahrain? Bangladesh, I guess, is going to send over cheap T-shirts that they make for Walmart. Djibouti, which does have presence by being a piece of Africa that doesn't move, that is on the other side of the Bab el-Mandab and facing rights. Egypt, which does have a large armed force. Jordan, does Jordan have a navy? I think there might be a couple of small patrol craft in Aqaba. Kuwait, which has a bunch of boats that are trapped off Kuwait. Nigeria, which is on the other side of Africa. Pakistan, which does have a navy. Qatar, which has a few boats that are stuck in the Persian Gulf. Saudi Arabia, which does have a Western fleet. I worked with the Saudi Western Fleet, which is headquartered out of Jeddah. Somalia.
Right.
Okay, Somalia, whatever. Maybe they'll bring cot. They'll bring all the cot to the party. That's that leaf you chew. Sudan, which has its own issues going right now.
You mean
And
they're hiring
Turkey.
child soldiers in Sudan, like they hired child soldiers in the last war to fight the Yemenis?
Yeah.
Sheikh. They can be the chaiwalas. Okay, this is the photograph of all the representative nations 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. I guess Bangladesh couldn't get a representative there fast enough. But this is what the coalition is supposed to be. They are supposed to be now creating a naval task force, and Saudi Arabia announced they will ask the United States and Europe to come into this campaign. Okay, Bab el-Mandab had one ship hit in a cargo ship. Cameroonian flag was struck off the Bab el-Mandab waterway. Okay, I have to cut this short today because I am going to be doing a special in about an hour. There are activities going on, and Dexter, I don't know if you can join us, but there are activities going on, particularly with regards to Spain, that I want to talk about. Spain and Egypt, that has now brought what I view as this map.
Spain and Morocco or Spain and Egypt?
Spain, Morocco, and Egypt. But the Egyptian thing, that map, which we had right now, which was just a theater map, okay, that's where the war is encompassed right now, is now going out like this. And it is encompassing the entirety of the Middle East, North Africa, and the Sahel, which apparently we are going to, with your buddy, Seb Gorka, are going to invade Mali along with the Russians to take it back to give to Vladimir Putin? I don't know. But there is activities going on in Morocco that are so serious today that I'm going to do a special on it. And the only way that I can describe this is somebody out there thinks that the world is a risk board. And there are geopolitical moves going on that are clearly the United States and Israel are behind. And that brings me to the question of who fired that drone, those 2 drones at those ships in Damietta, which could have caused a massive, multi-hundreds of casualties explosion had it gone off. I am still believing that it's probably local Muslim Brotherhood or ISIS of the Sinai extremists who just saw a target of opportunity, but it makes me go, because all it would do is bring Egypt so deep into the Iran war. And how did those drones fly over the most densely populated part of the Middle East with nobody seeing them, right? Shahed drones can't fly anywhere without everybody taking a video of those things. And why did they not just attack the Suez Canal, which would have been more divisive? So that's why I don't believe that it was a major nation state, unless a major nation state feels like they want to start a war and they want to drag Egypt into it. But this thing that's going on in Morocco, Ceuta, and Spain, this requires me to talk about this separately. It's serious. I know that area. I used to live in Spain. I used to drive my Ford Explorer overland vehicle right down to Algeciras. I would get on a ferry to Melilla or Ceuta, and I would drive from Ceuta and Melilla, which is Spain. They are two tiny Spanish enclaves, and I drove all over Morocco in that truck, all the way down to Tantan in the south, to Ouarzazate in the east, and the only thing I didn't do was keep going on the camel trail from Ouarzazate to Timbuktu, and I was going to do it. So, but I know Morocco. I've driven all over Morocco, and I know the circumstances about what's going on in Ceuta and Melilla. And, Jack Pratt just said, I don't understand what's going on in Spain. Come back in 1 hour. You will understand what's going on in Spain. And it ain't funny. It appears to me the United States and Israel are working together with Morocco to use migrant warfare against Spain to collapse their government. That's what it looks like. And if this ain't a fucking op, all right, then I don't believe that the intelligence community would do this. I believe that there are people on the National Security Council and in Trump's office that would do this.
I have so much to say about this. I've been to Morocco more than any other place in my career. And my wife and kids are in Morocco right now, this very moment. King of Morocco is in DC, I believe now, meeting with some folks.
Funny. Yeah. Coincidence takes a lot of planning. The King of Morocco lands in freaking Washington, D.C., and 50,000 military-aged boys, and I know Morocco very long, storm Spain's territory that they have been having for, I don't know how many, almost a millennia, ever since the Reconquista of Spain. They've held Ceuta and Melilla. So something is going on here, and I think we need to talk about it, and I think we're going to bring this back up at 11 o'clock. So that is the end of today's. Yeah, it's that serious, guys. I need this.
If you want to delay another hour, I can join you, but
we're going to do it at 11. We're going to do it at 11.
Okay.
All right.
I can make it.
Dexter, Could you come back at 11?
Absolutely.
Good, because this one's serious, guys. Yeah. Of all the things that's going on in the entirety of the Middle East, North Africa, this is almost as serious as the attack on Iran. And I'm going to explain why, because it ain't funny. And it's Tom Clancy-like in its execution. So, thanks for coming to the show today. For those of you who subscribe, watch this on YouTube, come over to Substack and subscribe, malcolmnance.substack.com. I will get to your questions in the next hour. Come back at 11 o'clock Eastern time, and we will go over the Ceuta Morocco special. I will put it out on Substack in a few minutes. So, thanks for coming, guys. See you all in an hour.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.